The alien fleet drifted through the endless black of space, silent and broken. Once these ships had been proud and strong, carrying thousands of lives across the stars. Their engines had roared like thunder, their weapons had glowed with deadly light, and their banners had flown high with pride. But now all that power had vanished. Their engines were dead. Their lights flickered weakly. Their supplies were running out. What remained was fear. Fear and silence. Days had turned into weeks. The fleet had sent out distress calls again and again, but no one answered. Each call grew weaker, more desperate, until even the strongest voices sounded like whispers in the dark. The void gave nothing back, no help, no comfort, not even a sign that someone had heard them. The aliens began to wonder if they had been abandoned, forgotten by the galaxy itself. On the largest ship, the command vessel Valora, the leader stood at the viewing deck. His eyes, once filled with confidence, now carried the weight of despair. He looked out at the drifting ships, his people's homes, their last hope of survival, and he felt the silence pressing on his chest like a crushing hand. The stars glittered coldly, uncaring about the suffering of those who drifted between them. Food was scarce. Rations had been cut again and again until children cried themselves to sleep with empty stomachs. Water was carefully recycled. Every drop measured, every cup counted. Fuel reserves were almost gone. They had no power to jump, no way to escape. The fleet was trapped, a tiny island in an endless ocean of night. Inside the ships, the air grew stale. Lights dimmed to save power, leaving long shadows across the corridors. Families huddled together in silence, listening to the hum of dying machines. Engineers worked without rest, but there was nothing left to repair with. Their tools were dull, their parts exhausted. Every fix was only a temporary bandage on a wound that would not heal. Whispers of fear spread through the fleet. Some said they would all die here, lost forever, their ships turning into lifeless tombs. Others believed pirates would come, drawn by the scent of weakness, and finish what hunger and despair had started. But the worst fear was silence, the idea that no one in all the vastness of the galaxy cared enough to answer their cries. Then, one night, something changed. The sensors on the Valora detected a faint signal. At first, the crew thought it was another ghost reading, just static in the void. But the signal grew stronger. Something was moving, something large. The crew scrambled to their stations, their tired eyes wide with sudden energy. Hope sparked, then quickly twisted into dread. What if it was pirates? What if it was the enemy they had once fought in wars? What if this was the end? The leader stared at the screen as the readings became clear. A massive object was approaching the fleet. It moved steadily, silently, with a power the broken ships could not match. The alien fleet had no weapons to resist, no engines to flee. They could only watch, helpless as the shape grew closer. "Identify it," the leader whispered, his voice barely louder than the hum of the dying ship. The sensors strained, trying to pierce the darkness. For long moments the display showed nothing but static. Then slowly a silhouette appeared, the shape of a ship. But not just one, more. A formation. Dozens, maybe hundreds. The crew gasped as they realized what was coming. It was not a scavenger crew. It was not a pirate band. It was a fleet. The alien heart sank. Who would bring such force here? Why had they come? Would they destroy what little was left of the stranded fleet? Fear rose like a tide through the ships. Mothers clutched their children close. Soldiers gripped useless weapons with shaking hands. The silence became unbearable. Then came the message. A deep voice echoed through the comms, sharp and clear. It spoke in a tongue they barely recognized, yet somehow the translation units caught the words. "This is the human expeditionary fleet. We received your distress signal. Hold position. Help is coming." The words spread like fire. First through the Valora, then through the smaller ships, then across the entire fleet. Humans. The word was whispered in fear, in disbelief, in awe. Everyone knew the stories. Humanity, the dangerous species from the death world called Earth. They were predators, survivors, warriors who had fought and beaten impossible odds. Some called them monsters, others called them heroes. But no one had ever called them saviors. The leader stood frozen, staring at the message replaying on the screen. Humanity had heard their call. Humanity had come. But the silence in the fleet remained heavy, for a new question burned in every alien mind. Why? Why would humans, creatures feared by the galaxy, come to rescue strangers drifting in the void? As the human fleet drew closer, the shadows of their massive warships fell across the broken alien vessels. Lights glowed on their hulls like the eyes of ancient beasts, watching, waiting. For the first time in weeks, the alien fleet was no longer alone. But the fear remained, mixed now with something else. Hope. And as the first human supply ship broke formation and moved toward the Valora, every alien on board held their breath. The silence of the fleet was about to be broken forever. The human fleet cut through the darkness like a blade. Their ships were massive, far larger than anything the stranded aliens had ever seen. Black steel hulls glimmered faintly against the starlight, while rows of glowing lights traced their edges. They moved in perfect silence, like predators gliding through deep water. To the broken alien fleet, it felt as though ancient giants had woken from slumber. On the command vessel Valora, every alien eye was fixed on the screens. The closer the humans came, the heavier the silence grew. Their presence was overwhelming. Stories about them rushed back into every alien mind. Stories told around campfires, whispered in dark halls. Stories of humans who fought impossible wars, who survived disasters that should have killed them, who looked at death and laughed. A dangerous race, unpredictable, feared across the galaxy. And now, they had come here. The leader of the alien fleet stood frozen. His voice was dry when he finally spoke. "Open the channel. Let us hear them again." The crew obeyed, and the human voice returned steady and commanding. "This is the human expeditionary fleet. We received your distress signal. We are here to provide aid. Hold position." The words carried no threat, yet they carried weight. The aliens did not know whether to feel safe or terrified. Aid? Why would humans waste their strength on helping strangers? Every species knew that humans were fighters, survivors. But helpers? That was harder to believe. The human fleet broke formation. Smaller vessels detached from the larger warships and began to move forward. Supply ships, repair craft, medical, cruisers. Their engines glowed bright as they crossed the void. Inside the alien ships, hearts pounded. Mothers whispered to their children to stay calm. Soldiers gripped useless rifles, torn between fear and hope. Engineers pressed their faces against dim windows, watching the strange vessels glide closer. For weeks they had been alone, forgotten. Now the humans had come. Too powerful to resist, too mysterious to understand. The first human ship docked with the Valora. It connected with a low metallic thud, sealing itself against the hull. The aliens waited, breathless. The airlock cycled. The door hissed open. And then, humans stepped inside. They wore armored suits, helmets reflecting the dim lights. Their movements were sharp, precise, like hunters scanning their surroundings. The aliens shrank back instinctively. These were not fragile beings. These were creatures built for survival, carved by a deadly homeworld into something fierce. But then something unexpected happened. The lead human removed his helmet. His face was pale compared to the aliens, his eyes sharp but calm. He raised a hand slowly, palm open, not in threat but in greeting. "We come in peace," he said. His voice was steady, without fear, without arrogance. The aliens stared, stunned. Peace? After everything they had heard, after everything they feared? Humans had come not with weapons raised, but with open hands. The leader of the alien fleet stepped forward. His voice trembled as he spoke. Why would you help us? We are Strangers, you owe us nothing. The human studied him for a moment before answering. No one deserves to die alone in the dark, not even strangers. The words hit the aliens like a storm. Simple words, yet filled with weight. No one deserves to die alone. The phrase echoed in their minds, shaking their fear, sparking something buried deep inside. The humans began their work immediately. Engineers moved with frightening speed, scanning broken engines, setting up portable reactors and unloading crates of supplies. Medics rushed through dim corridors carrying equipment, treating the sick, offering clean water to thirsty children. Everywhere they went, they worked with quiet determination. The aliens watched in silence, still half afraid, half unbelieving. They expected demands, expected hidden motives. But none came. The humans gave without asking for payment. They repaired, without asking for control. They worked as if saving the aliens was reason enough. Still, fear lingered. Whispers spread among the alien survivors. Some said the humans had a secret plan. Some said this kindness was just a mask, that soon the humans would take over the fleet. Others believed this was the beginning of something greater, that maybe, just maybe, humanity was not the monster the galaxy believed it to be. But even as hope began to rise, danger was approaching. Far away, hidden among the shadows of the stars, other ships had noticed the distress signal. Scavengers, pirates, ruthless hunters who thrived on the suffering of the weak. They were already moving, their engines burning like red eyes in the dark. They smelled profit. They smelled prey. The alien fleet was helpless. Even with repairs, they could not fight, and though humans were powerful, no one knew how much they would risk for strangers. Would they fight for those they barely knew? Or would they leave when danger came too close? On the Valora, the leader watched the humans work and felt the weight of a new fear. Help had come. But for how long? For the first time in weeks, the silence of the fleet was broken. But in the distance, new silence waited. A silence filled not with despair, but with the promise of violence. The human fleet worked like a storm of order. Within hours, the alien ships had food again, clean water again, and hope again. Children who had cried from hunger now ate warm meals. Engineers saw light returning to dark corridors. Medics treated wounds and diseases that had gone untended for weeks. For the first time since their disaster, the stranded fleet felt life, returning. But hope is fragile. While the aliens watched the humans work, shadows grew at the edges of the starfield. Small ships at first, then larger ones. They moved like vultures circling a dying beast. Their hulls were scarred, their shapes sharp and cruel. These were not rescuers. These were scavengers, pirates who hunted the weak. They had seen the distress signal. They had come not to help, but to feed. On the command deck of the Valora, alarms rang. The leader froze as his officers shouted, "Unknown contacts approaching. Multiple signatures, fast, armed, aggressive." The display filled with red markers. The aliens knew these ships well. They had been prey to them before. Ruthless scavenger fleets stripped helpless vessels of supplies, technology, even people. They left nothing but wreckage behind. Fear spread quickly. The aliens knew they had no weapons, no power, no way to fight. Their only hope rested in the humans. But would humans fight for them? Or would they take their supplies and leave, unwilling to risk their lives for strangers? The leader looked at the human commander standing calmly by the console. "The aliens," voice shook. "They are coming for us. If you leave now, we will understand." The human did not move. He only turned his gaze toward the display, where the red markers multiplied. His expression was unreadable. Slowly he spoke. "We don't abandon those who call for help." The words were quiet, but they struck like thunder. At once, the humans sprang into action. Orders echoed through the fleet. Warships shifted position, forming a protective wall around the stranded aliens. Massive cannons lit up, glowing like fire in the void. Fighters launched from carriers, streaking across the darkness like shards of light. The pirates drew closer, unaware of the storm they were flying into. They expected easy prey, broken ships, starving crews. They expected plunder. Instead, they found themselves staring at humanity's war machine. The first warning came in the form of a human broadcast. A voice filled the channels, cold and sharp. "This is Commander of the Human Expeditionary Fleet. You will turn away now. If you approach, you will not survive." The pirates laughed. They had heard threats before. No one in the galaxy scared them, not until the humans opened fire. The void exploded with light. Human cannons thundered, beams tearing through the darkness with precision. Pirate ships shattered in seconds, ripped apart before they could even raise shields. Fighters swooped in, cutting down enemy craft with ruthless speed. It was not a battle. It was slaughter. The aliens watched in silence, wide-eyed, as the humans unleashed fury unlike anything they had ever seen. The pirates tried to retreat, but humanity gave no mercy to predators who hunted the weak. One by one, their ships burned. One by one, they vanished into fire. Inside the Valora, children clung to their parents, watching the display. Soldiers, who had once feared humans, now whispered prayers of thanks. Engineers who had doubted humanity's purpose now stared in awe. The galaxy had always said humans were dangerous. Now the aliens understood why. But there was something more. The humans did not fight for conquest. They did not fight for wealth. They fought with cold precision, yes, but also with clear purpose. They fought to protect. They fought to defend the helpless fleet. When the last pirate ship was destroyed, silence returned to the void. The human fleet stood ready, weapons still, glowing. The aliens held their breath, waiting to see what humanity would do next. Slowly, the human commander turned to the alien leader. His voice was calm, as if nothing had happened. "You are safe now. We will continue repairs." The alien leader could not find words. His people had been saved not by luck, not by chance, but by humanity's choice. The galaxy called humans predators, but in that moment they looked more like guardians. Yet, fear still lingered. The aliens whispered among themselves, "What if the humans had not come? What if someday their anger turned against us? What kind of species can fight like this and still choose mercy?" As the humans returned to their work, the aliens realized something terrifying. The pirates had not been the true danger. The true danger was the question humanity left behind. If humans could unleash such destruction to protect strangers, what would they do if the galaxy ever became their enemy? The battle was over. The wreckage of pirate ships drifted silently across the stars, glowing with the last fires of destruction. The human fleet remained in formation, their weapons cooling, their engines humming softly. For the stranded alien fleet, safety had returned, but with it came new questions, heavier than ever before. On the Valora, the leader stood at the viewing deck. He had just seen humanity fight with terrifying precision. He had just seen them unleash power that no one in his fleet could match. The pirates had been destroyed in minutes, like insects crushed under an iron boot. It should have been a moment of celebration. Instead, it was a moment of silence. Around the fleet, whispers spread. Why did humans fight for us? Will they demand payment? Or will they take us as theirs now that we owe them our lives? Some voices spoke with hope. Perhaps they are saviors. Perhaps they came not as enemies, but as allies. Others spoke with fear. No. This is how it begins. They show mercy, they offer help, but soon we will belong to them. Humanity is too dangerous. No one shows such power without a hidden plan. The alien leader listened, torn between hope and doubt. He looked once more at the humans. They were repairing ships, distributing food, healing the sick. Not once had they asked for control. Not once had they made demands. Still, suspicion gnawed at the heart. That night, in the dim council chamber, the alien elders gathered. Their voices rose in heated debate. One elder slammed his fist on the table. "We cannot trust them. Did you not see their weapons? If they wished, they could have destroyed us as easily as those pirates. What is to stop them from doing it tomorrow?" Another spoke softly, her voice trembling. "But they did not destroy us. They protected us. They gave our children food, our wounded medicine. If they wanted us as slaves, why not take us already?" "Because they are patient," someone growled. They will wait until we depend on them fully. Then when we cannot live without them, they will show their true face. The arguments went on for hours. Hope battled fear. Trust fought suspicion. No one could agree. Meanwhile, on the human flagship, the commander spoke with his officers. His face was calm, but his words carried weight. These people are afraid. They see our strength and believe we must want something in return. That is natural. But we do not abandon those who call for help. We will repair their ships, resupply them, and let them choose their path. One officer frowned. And if they turn against us later? The commander's eyes hardened. Then they will learn we never fight first, but we always finish what others begin. The humans continued their mission without complaint. Supplies moved, engines roared back to life, and one by one the alien ships began to glow with power again. But still the aliens debated. The turning point came unexpectedly. A fire broke out deep inside one of the smaller alien vessels. A reactor overload, caused by weeks of neglect and damage, threatened to rip the ship apart. The crew panicked. They had no strength left, no resources to stop it. Before the aliens could even send a call for help, human engineers stormed aboard. They rushed into the burning corridors, their armored suits shielding them from smoke and heat. They fought the fire with calm efficiency, shutting down systems, dragging alien crew to safety, even carrying unconscious children out in their arms. When the fire finally died, the ship was saved. No lives were lost. And still the humans asked for nothing. This moment shook the alien fleet more than the pirate battle had. It was one thing for humanity to fight enemies with weapons. It was another for them to risk their lives in fire and smoke to save strangers. The alien leader gathered his people once more. He spoke with a voice that carried through every ship. We have lived in fear of humanity. We have heard the stories of their power, their violence, their wars. And yes, today we have seen that power with our own eyes. But we have also seen something else, something the galaxy does not speak of. We have seen their mercy, their sacrifice, their choice to help, even when they did not have to. We must decide. Do we live in fear forever, or do we dare to trust? The fleet fell silent. The choice was not easy. Trusting humans was like standing at the edge of a cliff and stepping forward, not knowing if wings would appear or if the fall would end in death. Finally, voices began to answer. Slowly, carefully, but with growing strength. We will trust. We will give them a chance. If they wanted to harm us, they already could have. Instead, they saved us. And so, for the first time since their nightmare began, the alien fleet made a choice, not born of fear, but of hope. They would trust humanity. The alien leader sent a message to the human commander. His voice was steady, though his heart trembled. We thank you. You have given us more than survival. You have given us a future. If you will allow it, we wish to call you allies. The reply came quickly, the human voice calm and firm. Allies, then. We do not demand loyalty. We do not demand tribute. But if you stand with us, know this. We will never abandon you, and we will never forgive those who try to harm you. The alien leader closed his eyes. The decision was made. 4. Better or worse, their fates were now tied to humanity. But deep in the shadows of the galaxy, not everyone would welcome this choice. Asterisk. The alien fleet had been broken. They had been starving, drifting, forgotten in the endless dark. Then humanity came, first with food and medicine, then with fire and fury, and finally, with open hands. Weeks later, the once silent ships of the alien fleet burned brightly again. Engines roared back to life, shields pulsed with energy, and corridors that had echoed with fear now echoed with laughter. Children played, soldiers stood tall again, and families dared to dream of tomorrow. All of it had been made possible by humanity. But stories travel faster than ships. Across the galaxy, whispers spread. Whispers of the stranded fleet that had cried out for help. Whispers of pirates who thought they had found easy prey, only to be erased by human warships. Whispers of humanity's mercy, Mercy that no one had expected. Some called it a miracle. Some called it madness. And some called it a warning. On distant worlds, leaders gathered in secret chambers. Holograms flickered as politicians and generals argued. Humans cannot be trusted. Today they help, tomorrow they conquer. You say that, but they did not conquer this time. They repaired, they gave, they defended. What kind of conqueror shows such restraint? Exactly. That restraint is the most terrifying weapon of all. They choose when to unleash their power, and if they ever choose against us, nothing will stop them. Fear and awe spread side by side. Humanity had not fired upon the weak fleet. Humanity had not demanded tribute. But humanity had shown what it could do when enemies appeared. The galaxy had seen their hand of mercy, but it had also seen their fist of war. Back with the alien fleet, the leader stood once more on the viewing deck of the Valora. This time the stars looked brighter. His ship stood repaired around him, ready to fly home. And yet his thoughts lingered not on his people, but on humanity. He remembered the human commander's words. We don't abandon those who call for help. It was a simple promise. But in that promise lay a truth the galaxy had never understood. Humans did not fight only for themselves. They fought for others. They fought for survival, yes, but also for principle. The alien leader turned to his officers. We must tell our worlds what we have seen. The galaxy fears humanity because of their wars. But they must also know of this, of their mercy. And so the stories began. At first they spread only among the rescued fleet. Then they reached their homeworld. Then they leapt across star systems like wildfire. Every retelling grew sharper, heavier, more powerful. They came like predators, yet offered food to our children. They fought like demons, yet saved us with gentle hands. They asked for nothing, yet gave us everything. The galaxy listened, and the galaxy trembled. For if humans could show such kindness to strangers, what would they do for their allies? And if humans could unleash such fury on pirate, what would they do to their enemies? The legacy of humanity was not only in their power, but in the uncertainty they carried. They could be saviors or destroyers. They could be protectors or conquerors. No one could predict which face they would show next. Weeks later, as the alien fleet returned home, the people filled the skies to welcome them. They cheered not only for survival, but for the allies who had made it possible. Banners of their own world flew high, but whispers of Earth's name rose louder. Humanity, the unpredictable race, the dangerous race, the race that saved them. And, in the silence of the stars far beyond their reach, the human fleet moved on. They did not wait for praise. They did not demand recognition. Their ship slipped back into the void, leaving only questions behind. One child from the rescued fleet asked her mother, as they watched the humans disappear into the stars, "Will they come back someday?" Her mother held her close, her voice soft but certain. "If ever we call again, I believe they will." The galaxy would never see humanity the same way again. For once, it was not their weapons alone that defined them. It was their choice. The choice to help when they could have turned away. And so the legacy of that day lived on, echoing across systems, whispered in council halls, sung in marketplaces, carved into memory. An alien fleet was stranded, and humanity showed up to help. And in doing so, humanity shook the galaxy to its core.